Hey guys, Loot Wizard here with another video on Gems of War, and in this one we have a new class called the Plaguelord. It is a human class, and let's get right into looking at its traits and talents. So, first of all, let's go in here. Its traits are actually not too bad. All enemies lose 2 random skill points, immunity to disease, and then its main, since it is called the Plaguelord, its main function is disease. So, it will, once you have it fully traded, it will inflict disease on a random enemy on green gem matches. So every time you match green gems, it will disease a random enemy. Now, what does disease do? Disease actually halves the mana that troop that's been diseased will gain. So it's actually really good for stopping the enemy team from gaining a lot of mana quickly. Let's go into its talent tree. And it actually has some pretty decent talents, and I will go over my recommended ones that I'm going to select for this class. So first of all, here at level 1, you do have Magical Shield, which all purple allies gain 2 armor, which isn't really great. Demonic Rage, all demons gain 1 attack. That may actually be pretty decent if you put it together with some other troops that gave bonus stats to your demons. But right here, I think this is the best one at level 1, which is Impact, which will inflict stun when enemies deal skull damage to me. So this is really good because, like, if you have, if you're going up against a team that has like Gorgotha at the top, which has like 75% skull reduction, once it hits you once with a connecting skulls, it'll get stunned, which means that its traits will be completely nullified for a short time, which means that it will no longer have that high damage reduction to skull damage, and you will be able to actually do really good damage to those kind of troops that way. So Impact is really actually a really good skill, and that's unlocked at level 1. Level 5, we have Magelord, which is gain 2 magic if in last position. Dark Hunger, which is steal 1 life from the first enemy when matching purple gems. And then we have Hammer Mastery, gain 2 magic if using a hammer. Now, out of these 3, I think that the best one is probably going to be the Dark Hunger. Stealing 1 life doesn't seem like much, but again, you steal 1 life every single time you match purple gems. So if you have a troop that multiplies or converts to purple, you're going to be stealing quite a bit of life throughout a match. You might be able to steal 5, 10, 15 life, from that first enemy, and that may actually make you win the battle because you can survive longer. Now, at level 10, we have Anti-Magic Sphere, which reduces damage from spells by 20%. You have Plague Bearer, which disease a random enemy on 4 or 5 gem matches. And then we have Stone Circle, which is all brown allies gain 3 armor. So all of these aren't too bad. Anti-Magic Sphere is actually probably my preferred one that I would select, simply because you will reduce damage from spells by 20%. But also Plague Bearer isn't too bad. Disease a random enemy on 4 or 5 matches. That could also be very useful. The all-brown allies gain 3 armor won't be really that useful unless you're going an all-brown team with this hero class. Now, level 20, we have Mana Source, Spawn of Hell, and Dwarven Armor. So I would probably select Mana Source, which will start your battles with 50% mana. Spawn of Hell is a 50% chance to summon a Hell Spawn when an enemy dies. And then Dwarven Armor is gain 4 armor for each Dwarven ally. So Dwarven Armor won't be really useful unless you have a Dwarf enemy. A Dwarf team set up. All 3 troops are Dwarves. But I don't know why you would select the Plague Bearer for that necessarily, because Dwarven team probably will work better with Rune Priest. Spawn of Hell could be useful for surviving longer. But it's a 50% chance to summon a Hell Spawn when an enemy dies. Usually these things spawn, like the bandits, spawn for you when an ally dies. This one is when an enemy dies. So, out of all these, probably Mana Source is the best one. Now, moving on to level 40, we have Antiquity, which will allow you to gain 4 magic when using artifacts. That might be useful if the particular weapon that you have equipped is an artifact. It'll give you a boost of 4 magic. Sudden Doom creates a Doom Storm at the start of a battle. And then we have Rock Solid, which is a really great skill in any class. It allows you to gain a barrier when matching brown gems. Now, out of these 3, I would say the most useful one, my recommended one, is going to be Rock Solid, hands down. Summon a Doom Storm. It's just going to it's going to allow Doom Skulls to drop quicker, but again, you only have like 8 turns, and then that's going to end, and if you don't explode the board, there won't be a lot of those skulls dropping down, so that isn't incredibly useful, unless you have something that's going to explode the board for you right away. So I would say Rock Solid for level 40 talent. Now, level 70 is also interesting. We have Arcane Surge, gain bonus purple mana from purple gem matches. Delirium, gain 2 magic and attack when I take damage to life. Also, we have Stone Mastery, gain bonus brown mana from brown gem matches. Now, this actually is really, all 3 of these actually are really useful. So, as far as my recommended one, I would probably say overall, most useful is probably going to be Delirium, gain 2 magic and attack when I take damage to life. However, if you do have an all like purple team setup or an all brown setup, or if you choose a banner that has double purple or double brown, it might be really useful to select the matching banner talent here for purple or for brown, because if you have like 2 plus banner for brown, let's say, and then you come in here and you have this unlocked and you choose Stone Mastery, you will no longer you will be gaining 3 extra brown instead of 2 extra brown. So that might be very useful for getting the mana up quicker. Now we have at level 100 we have Mystic Channel. All mystics gain 2 magic in life when an enemy dies. Chaos Wave. All enemies lose 1 point on a random skill when I match skulls. And then we have Fortitude, which is immunity to stun, poison, disease, death mark, and devour. Now, I would say out of these 3, the 2 best ones are going to be Chaos Wave and Fortitude. The overall useful one is probably going to be Fortitude, just because you're going to gain that immunity to all those different status effects, which can be devastating to your hero in a battle. However, Chaos Wave comes in at a second, because all enemies lose 1 point on a random skill when matching skulls. So if you use this, I would say Chaos Wave probably is more useful than Fortitude if you have this hero in a all-skull team. Like if you're using Glaceon, King Bloodhammer, or any other skull troops, and your primary damage is going to be skulls, I would say Chaos Wave is going to be useful if you're doing that. Otherwise, for everything else, Fortitude is fantastic. So that is the overview of the talents for this new Plaguelord class, and it's actually pretty good. So it does have that mana source as well, so it is a class that allows you to start the hero at 50% mana, which always comes in handy. And now let's go take a look at the weapon. The weapon is called Essence of Evil. And I like how this weapon sounds. I have not unlocked it yet, but it sounds really powerful. What it does is it inflicts all negative status effects on an enemy, and then it will explode around 20 gems of their mana color. So I don't know quite how that's going to work when you attack an enemy like a mythic troop that has 3 different colors. It'll probably just pick one of those colors randomly and explode all of those on the board, which could be successful or unsuccessful depending upon how many gems of that color are actually on the board. But this is interesting though, because you can select the troop that you want to inflict all these negative status effects, which is actually going to be pretty powerful, because when you think about it, what are all the status effects? You have Death Mark, you have Entangle, you have Silence, you have Disease, you have Curses in there, Bleed. So, I mean, it's going to hit it with like every single negative status effect, it sounds like, which is going to be pretty awesome. And then on top of that, it will explode the a bunch of gems of its colors. Now you can look at the board and say like, okay, well, there's this many color of this gem and this many color of that gem. So this enemy troop will explode the most gems. So you can actually select which enemy you want to inflict the status effects on, and also who has the most gems to explode on the board. So it will act as a pretty good mana generator, as well as just totally crippling some of your opponents in battle. It takes green mana, and it has a 15 mana cost, which it really isn't too bad, especially if you start with 50% mana, you're going to cut that in half. It'll probably start like about 7 mana, so you'll need to get about 8 mana to fire it off the first time. And it should be a pretty devastating weapon. I look forward to using it a lot. It'll probably be a really great weapon in Guild Wars, honestly, on a green day. So, yeah, it is the new class is human. I don't remember if I mentioned that, but it is of the human troop type. But it is from the Kingdom Darkstone. So, that is interesting. So it is our second human class, actually. And I actually like this one, I think, a little better than the first human class that we got, which was the War Priest. Now, the War Priest is still pretty decent, but it's 50% chance to stun a random enemy at the start of my battle, and it reduces damage from skulls by 40%. But those are actually pretty good, but the talents, I won't go over all of them, but I was kind of disappointed by most of the talent options for the War Priest class, which is our other human class. So, yeah, I look forward to using the Plaguelord with an all-human team, and sometimes not with an all-human team. Sounds like it's pretty versatile. But definitely with an all-human team, it'll be very interesting. So there you have it, guys. That is my overview of the new class that was released, the Plaguelord. And thanks for watching, as always, and later.